A ghost in Scotland has sent over 450 people to the hospital. The city's response: charge admission to get attacked by the ghost and make you sign a waiver. Sounds too crazy to be true. Well, picture this. You're walking through a cemetery in Edinburgh. Beautiful place, historic, peaceful. The kind of spot where you'd expect to hear birds chirping and maybe some distant bagpipes. Instead, you hear screaming. Not the, oh look, a spider kind of screaming. The something just grabbed my throat kind of screaming. Welcome to Greyfriars Cemetery, home to the Mackenzie Poltergeist. A ghost so aggressive, so consistently violent that the city of Edinburgh officially acknowledges its existence. Not like, yeah, there's a scary rumor here. More like, yeah, we've documented 450 physical attacks, and honestly, we're running out of incident report forms. This isn't your grandmother's ghost story. This is a paranormal case with medical records, police reports, and a body count. Well, an injury count, but still. So buckle up, because we're diving into the most well-documented, thoroughly aggressive, and straight-up terrifying haunting in modern history. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why Edinburgh tourists sign literal waivers before entering this cemetery. Let's get into it. Fact number 1. The man behind the mayhem. First, let's talk about who or what is attacking so many people. Meet Sir George Mackenzie. And no, he wasn't a nice guy. In fact, calling him not nice is like calling Hannibal Lecter a picky eater. This dude lived in the 1600s and earned himself the delightful nickname Bluidy Mackenzie. That's Scottish for Bloody Mackenzie if you're not fluent in terrifying nicknames. He was basically Scotland's version of a serial killer, except it was totally legal because he had a fancy title, Lord Advocate. His job: persecute Covenanters, Scottish Presbyterians who refused to accept the king's authority over the church. And Sir George took this job very seriously. We're talking 18,000 people imprisoned, hundreds executed, and torture methods that would make medieval dungeon masters say, dude, maybe dial it back a bit. He imprisoned 1,200 Covenanters in a tiny section of Greyfriars churchyard, the same cemetery where he'd eventually be buried. They called it the Covenanters' Prison. Hundreds died from exposure, starvation, and disease in 5 months. So when Bloody Mackenzie died in 1691, they buried him in a black mausoleum at Greyfriars. And for 300 years, everything was fine. Well, not fine for the people he murdered, but the ghost part, quiet, until 1998. Now you might be thinking, okay, evil guy, bad history, but what woke him up after 3 centuries? Well, that's where this story goes from historical tragedy to, are you kidding me right now? Fact number 2, the homeless guy who broke everything. December 1998, a homeless man breaks into the Black Mausoleum looking for shelter. Totally reasonable, right? It's freezing in Edinburgh, stone building, keeps the wind out. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong. He breaks open the locked gate, crawls inside the mausoleum, and immediately falls through the rotten wooden floor into a hidden chamber beneath Mackenzie's tomb. A chamber no one knew existed. Now he's in a pitch-black underground vault, probably freaking out, definitely regretting his life choices. And then, because this story needed to get much worse, he realizes the floor down there is covered in something soft. Not dirt, not leaves, coffins. He'd fallen into a mass grave, a plague pit. Bodies that had been thrown down there centuries ago during various Edinburgh epidemics. And in his panic to get out, he starts stepping on coffins, breaking through the rotted wood, his feet plunging through into, well, you can imagine. He finally climbs out, covered in God knows what, and runs screaming out of the cemetery. And that's when the attack started. The next day, a woman visiting the cemetery was pushed by an invisible force near the mausoleum. Then someone else reported being scratched. Then someone passed out. Then someone's dog refused to enter the area and started howling at nothing. Within a month, there were over 40 reported incidents. Within a year, over 200. Mackenzie had been awakened, and he was pissed. But here's the thing that makes this even crazier. These weren't just, "I felt a cold spot" reports. People were leaving the cemetery with actual injuries, which brings us to fact number 3, the medical evidence. Okay, so most hauntings have what? Some EVP recordings, a blurry photo, maybe a door closing on its own if you're lucky. The Mackenzie Poltergeist has medical records. We're talking unexplained bruises appearing within minutes, scratches manifesting in sets of 3 like claw marks, burns on people's skin with no heat source, people knocked unconscious, broken bones. Yes, broken bones. One woman's finger was broken so badly it required surgery. There are photographs of these injuries taken in hospitals by doctors who had no explanation. One tourist from Japan was taking photos near the Black Mausoleum when she suddenly collapsed. No medical history, no prior conditions, just dropped. She woke up in a hospital with no memory of what happened and a massive bruise across her neck in the shape of fingers. The doctor's report literally says, "Cause unknown." Another visitor reported feeling ice-cold hands around her throat, couldn't breathe, and passed out. When she came to, there were red marks around her neck, consistent with strangulation. The marks stayed visible for 3 days. And here's the kicker. This isn't happening to 1 or 2 people. It's not mass hysteria. These attacks happen to people who've never heard of the Mackenzie Poltergeist. Tourists from countries where this story isn't known. Skeptics. Even a few paranormal investigators who showed up thinking they'd debunk it. One of them left on a stretcher. Now you might be thinking, okay, but surely the city shut this place down, right? Closed off the dangerous ghost zone? Fact number 4, the city's official response, also known as Sign This Waiver. Most cities would respond to 450 plus documented attacks by, closing the area, calling in priests, hiring Ed and Lorraine Warren. But no, not Edinburgh. Edinburgh said, how about we make tourists sign a waiver and charge them £15 to get attacked? I am not joking. The City of Edinburgh Council officially acknowledges the Mackenzie Poltergeist. They don't call it a legend. They don't say, allegedly. They straight up say, yes, people get hurt here. Sign this form, accepting that you might leave with injuries of supernatural origin. There are guided tours that take you into the Covenanters' prison area and right up to the Black Mausoleum. They even go inside the vault where Mackenzie is buried. The tour companies have binders full of incident reports. They've had to call ambulances. They've had to stop tours midway because someone got hurt. They've had visitors who had to be carried out. And yet, people keep coming. Because apparently, the human response to "this ghost will hurt you" is, "let's do this." The tour guides have protocols now. Don't mock or disrespect Mackenzie. People who do tend to get attacked. Don't take anything from the mausoleum. Obvious, but apparently not obvious enough. If you start feeling dizzy, cold, or nauseous, leave immediately. If something touches you, don't ignore it. They also recommend not going if you're pregnant, have a heart condition, or are sensitive to paranormal activity. You know it's real when there are medical disclaimers for a ghost, but okay, maybe you're still skeptical. Maybe you think people are just psyching themselves out. Well, let me tell you about the time the poltergeist attacked someone who didn't even believe in it. Fact number 5, the skeptic who learned the hard way. It's 2004. A paranormal investigator named Colin Grant decided to spend the night in the Black Mausoleum. Colin was a skeptic. He'd investigated dozens of hauntings and debunked all of them. He brought equipment, cameras, the works. He was going to prove this was all mass hysteria and tourist trap nonsense. He went in at 10 p.m. with a film crew. He came out at 11:47 p.m. on a stretcher. What happened in that hour and 47 minutes? According to the video footage, Colin starts mocking Mackenzie, calling him out, challenging him, classic ghost hunter stuff. Then he goes quiet, stares at a corner of the room, says he feels extremely cold, despite it being August. 5 minutes later, he starts backing away from something only he can see. His camera operator asks what's wrong. Colin says, "Something's here. Something's really here." Then he screams, grabs his neck, and collapses. The crew thinks he's having a heart attack. They call 999, UK's 911. But when paramedics arrive, they find no heart issues, no medical explanation. What they do find are deep scratch marks on Colin's back, marks that weren't there when they entered the tomb. The footage proves it. He was wearing a shirt that covered his entire back. No one touched him. Colin refused to ever discuss what he saw in that tomb, just said it's real, and never investigated another haunting again. He went from skeptic to believer in under 2 hours. Fact number 6, the famous psychic who noped out. You know things are serious when even professional psychics won't go near a place. In 2003, a famous British psychic named Derek Acora was filming an episode of Most Haunted at Greyfriars. Derek had been on hundreds of investigations. He claimed to communicate with spirits regularly. He was basically the guy who walked into haunted places for a living. He walked into the Black Mausoleum. He walked out 3 minutes later, pale, shaking, and refusing to go back inside. On camera, Derek said he'd never felt such overwhelming malevolence and rage in his entire career. He described Mackenzie's presence as suffocating and said he felt like he was being crushed. The show's director tried to convince him to go back in. Derek, who, again, this was his literal job, said, and I quote, "Not for any amount of money." They had to film the rest of the episode outside the mausoleum because Derek refused to get within 20 feet of it. And here's the creepy part. After that episode aired, Derek claimed he was followed home by something from Greyfriars. He reported objects moving in his house, unexplained cold spots, and a feeling of being watched. It took 2 exorcisms, yes, 2, before he felt the presence was gone. Even the ghost whisperers are scared of this ghost. That's how you know it's bad. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, has anyone tried to, I don't know, get rid of this thing? Oh, they've tried multiple times, and every single attempt has gone spectacularly wrong. Fact number 7, the exorcisms that made it worse. Between 1999 and 2004, there were 5 separate exorcisms performed at the Black Mausoleum. 5 different priests from different denominations. Every single one made things worse. The first exorcism was in early 1999. A local minister performed a blessing ceremony outside the mausoleum. That same night, 3 people were attacked in the cemetery. One of them was the minister's assistant, who reported being violently shoved into a gravestone. The second exorcism was in 2000. A Catholic priest from Ireland volunteered. He performed a full Roman Catholic exorcism ritual inside the vault. Halfway through, he stopped, said, "This is not a spirit that can be banished," and left. He later told reporters he felt like he was standing in front of pure evil, and that attempting to force it out would only make it angry. Spoiler, he was right. After that exorcism, attacks increased by 300%. Triple. People weren't just getting pushed or scratched anymore. They were being knocked unconscious, getting unexplained burns, experiencing missing time. One woman went into the area during a tour and came out 2 hours later with no memory of where she'd been. The tour had only lasted 45 minutes. She had bruises on her arms and kept saying, "He showed me something." She never explained what that something was. By 2005, religious officials in Edinburgh basically said, "We're done trying," and advised people to just avoid the area if they're sensitive. The Church of Scotland's official position on the Mackenzie Poltergeist is essentially, yeah, that's real, and we don't know what to do about it. When the church gives up, you know you've got a problem. But here's where things get really weird, because it's not just the attacks that are strange, it's the pattern to the attacks. And once you see the pattern, everything gets a lot more disturbing. Fact number 8, the pattern no one wants to talk about. Okay, so researchers started noticing something strange about who gets attacked by the Mackenzie Poltergeist. It's not random people who mock Mackenzie. Attacked. People who show disrespect to the graves. Attacked. People who try to take souvenirs from the cemetery. Definitely attacked. But here's the part that's genuinely creepy. People who show sympathy for Mackenzie's victims, the Covenanters he tortured and killed, get attacked more severely. Think about that for a second. If you go into Greyfriars and say something like, "Those poor people who suffered here," you're more likely to experience something violent than if you just walk through quietly. It's like Mackenzie is still persecuting them, still attacking anyone who acknowledges what he did. One historian who was researching the Covenanters for a book reported being physically pushed down stone stairs after laying flowers at the Covenanters' monument. She broke her wrist and had to be hospitalized. The pattern suggests that Mackenzie isn't just a residual haunting, some emotional echo replaying the same actions. He's aware, he's intelligent, and he's still carrying out his mission from 400 years ago. He's still hunting Covenanters, except now he considers anyone who honors them to be a Covenanter, which means if you visit Greyfriars and feel even a little bit of sympathy for his historical victims, you might be next. There are documented cases of people being followed home by the Mackenzie presence after visiting the cemetery. They report objects moving in their homes, feeling watched, nightmares about a man in 17th century clothing, unexplained scratches appearing while they sleep, and a crushing feeling on their chest at night. One woman from Australia visited Greyfriars in 2010, showed sympathy for the Covenanters during her tour, and then spent the next 4 months experiencing paranormal activity in her Sydney home. You know it's a powerful entity when it can follow you across the planet. Fact number 9, the dark tourism economy. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The Mackenzie Poltergeist is profitable. Greyfriars cemetery tours generate an estimated £2 to £3 million annually for Edinburgh tourism. The Mackenzie Poltergeist is literally advertised in travel guides. TripAdvisor lists haunted tours of Greyfriars as a top attraction. The city benefits economically from people coming to potentially get attacked by a ghost. And here's where it gets ethically messy. Tour companies have incident reports. They know people get hurt. They have documentation of hundreds of injuries, but they also have waivers, legal documents that say you acknowledge the risk of paranormal activity. So when someone gets hurt, and people do get hurt, the tour company isn't liable because you signed away your right to sue for ghost-related injuries. Let that sink in. There is actual legal precedent for ghost-related injuries in Edinburgh courts because of this case. The tours continue because they're profitable, they're technically legal with waivers, and people keep coming despite the danger. It's basically supernatural extreme sports at this point. And the wildest part? Bookings increased after news articles about the attacks went viral. People saw 450 documented attacks and thought, I want to be number 451. Now I know what you're thinking. This can't all be real. There has to be a rational explanation. Someone must have debunked this. Well, they tried. Fact number 10. The scientists who couldn't explain it. In 2006, a team of researchers from Edinburgh University decided to conduct a proper scientific study of the Mackenzie Poltergeist phenomenon. They were going to debunk this, prove it was mass hysteria, suggestibility, or environmental factors causing hallucinations. They brought equipment, EMF meters, temperature sensors, air quality monitors, motion detectors, cameras, the works. They conducted the study over 6 months with 200+ participants. Half were told about the haunting, half were told nothing. Their findings: both groups experienced phenomena at nearly identical rates. People who had zero knowledge of the haunting still reported feeling pushed or touched, sudden temperature drops, unexplained nausea, feeling watched, and in some cases, visible injuries. The study concluded that a phenomenon of unknown origin is occurring at this location and that it cannot be attributed to suggestion or prior knowledge. That's scientists speak for, yeah, something's definitely happening and we have no idea what. The lead researcher, Dr. Richard Wiseman, is a professional skeptic. His entire career is debunking paranormal claims. Even he couldn't explain Greyfriars. In interviews, he said the Mackenzie Poltergeist is the most compelling evidence of paranormal activity he's ever encountered. Coming from a guy who spent 20+ years proving ghosts aren't real, that's significant. Other researchers tested infrasound, carbon monoxide poisoning, electromagnetic fields, and mass hysteria. Every rational explanation has been tested and found insufficient, which leaves us with a disturbing conclusion. Something genuinely unexplainable is happening at Greyfriars Cemetery. Something that can cause physical harm. Something that's been doing it consistently for 25+ years. Something that even scientists can't debunk. So there you have it, the Mackenzie Poltergeist. A ghost so aggressive it has a medical record. So persistent it outlasted 5 exorcisms. So well documented that scientists can't explain it, and the city just accepts it exists. George Bluidy Mackenzie tortured thousands in life, and apparently he's not done yet. Greyfriars Cemetery is still open. Tours still run daily. People still sign waivers and walk into that mausoleum. Some walk out with stories, some walk out with scars, and some have to be carried out. Now here's my question for you. Would you visit? Would you walk into the Black Mausoleum knowing what you know now? Knowing that 450+ people have been physically attacked? Knowing that priests gave up and scientists can't explain it? Drop a comment below. Team visit or team hell no? And if you've been to Greyfriars, oh man, I need to hear your story. Did anything happen? Did you feel anything? Did you sign the waiver and immediately regret it? If you want more deep dives into the most disturbing, well-documented paranormal cases out there, smash that subscribe button. We're doing a whole series on hauntings that have actual evidence, medical records, police reports, scientific studies, the works. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and maybe stay away from Edinburgh cemeteries, especially ones where you have to sign a waiver.